Can you hear me? Thank you for being here at the special meeting of LaSalle County Commissioners Court. It's August 7th, 1:10 p.m. at the District Courtroom, LaSalle County Courthouse, 101 Courthouse Square. Here in Cotulla, we have a full quorum. If we could rise to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor of the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Hopefully it's not a long meeting because it's a Friday afternoon, but we needed to do this because our other order was running out. Is there any public comment? There being none, I'm gonna move to number 4, discussion possible action to amend or extend disaster declaration. Chief Mendez, if you could.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Just give you some brief numbers quickly. Right now, as of yesterday, the state of Texas, their positivity rate is at 17.05%. At the end of last week, we were down statewide to about 12.88%. So they are seeing a rise again in that percentage rate. As far as what we get in the emergency management office, one from Region 8 of Texas Department of State Health Services, they are reporting a total of 90 cases in LaSalle County as of last night. The Texas Department of State Health Services website that the public can log on to is reporting 357 cases. STRAC, who has a better, more accurate count, is reporting 357 cases with 1 fatality in LaSalle County. And since we've started to transition to the public health department and our records, although they're still in the early stages of getting everything situated, currently we have 35 active cases here within LaSalle County. We're still within the 350-ish range on total cases, but 35 active right now. We are making that transition. Monday should be our final phone call with the state for the transition, and we'll be discussing Texas Health Trace and what we have to do locally as we do the contact investigations to enter into the system, the state system. And then we'll be handling it from that point forward.
One of the things is when you look up the state, well, first, let us know what STRAC is, because there's members of the public that may not know who STRAC is.
STRAC is, it's an acronym. It's called South Texas Regional Advisory Council. They oversee 22 counties in South Texas. They're based out of San Antonio. LaSalle County does fall into the STRAC region. We are the southernmost county in the STRAC region. And STRAC pretty much gives guidance and any assistance that we need, any agency in those 22 counties needs at any time, not just during this pandemic. So they're gathering the information, and their information not only comes from the EMS services, but also the hospitals. We have, they have a team of doctors for advising all sorts of different officials from hospitals, EMS, fire departments across the region that come together and help put out advisories and so forth within the region.
One of the things that we've noticed with the state having their numbers, and you can tell that they're so overwhelmed, that they started clearing cases out as closed just based on time rather than confirmation. So it leaves us with a completely inaccurate picture
Yes, sir.
because there's been a few cases where, you know, they've retested over and over again. They continue to be positive. So that we know of. So may not be far off, but you know, numbers would be off. But then in the fatalities that we're talking about, uh, I'm I'm thinking what the state is doing is they're giving the fatality to the county wherever the person died. So we may be showing one fatality, but we've had 8 fatalities of people infected that live in LaSalle County that died elsewhere.
Correct. And
That
that's,
died elsewhere.
and that's kind of what we've done some figuring on. Also, part of the problem is, let's say the nursing home, they don't report to Texas Department of State Health Services. They report to Health and Human Services. And then it's on Health and Human Services when they finish their investigation to report to Texas Department of Human Services. So there's a lot of time between entities before it's reported. It is going well. We've been working really hard the past week on the transition. We are good to report that right now the nursing home has 0 cases. So there was a lot of work done between LaSalle County and the staff at the nursing home, but it is now down to 0. And they're still on limited access to that building, and we're taking care of the staff, and we're still getting them PPE. They're doing random testing to ensure the staff and patients are still being tested to identify early on if anybody's positive, so they can begin the isolation so we don't have another outbreak.
Now, is the state now cooperating with Dr. Rofe on
Yes.
providing him the data to be able to do the contact tracing?
Yes, Dr. Ringstorff, who is the doctor in charge of Region 8, her and Dr. Roth have been constant communication, many phone calls this week. And then on 10 o'clock on Monday morning is the phone call with us, Dr. Roth, Dr. Ringstorff, and the team at Region 8 we have to learn the Texas Health Trace system. And so we'll be going through that. And then all that info will actually be coming through us for us to do the contact tracing, investigations, follow-ups, and so forth. We did, based off what we have, start making contact with active cases this week to ensure they're staying home, advising them if they need anything to contact us so we can start limiting them coming out into the public, therefore reducing the community spread locally.
One of the things in doing this is that the state is so far behind in contact tracing that people don't stay home. And they go, and you see them at the stores, or they'll put it in Facebook, they're here or there. You know, we don't know if they've been cleared or not cleared. But by setting up the local health authority, then the doctor gets all the information right away and they can contact trace. And while we don't want anybody to get charged or get in trouble, you know, we also need them to stay home. So if someone comes positive and then you visit them, you know, if they go out, they can be charged an offense. You know, they continue, they can be charged another. But even on the contact tracing, if you get here, let's say I go to Danny's house, okay, who lives with you? Oh, nobody else, but somebody else lives there. Well, they can be charged because there's other people there because they're giving false information. So there's a number of things that can happen. The last thing you want to do is, you don't want people to get in trouble, but they need to cooperate to be able to trace them, because we already suspected in one case that there was a child that bounced from house to house, visiting family members, not doing anything wrong, but that child was probably the hotspot and the only connection with some of the people that got sick and even died. And it's, you know, not intentional, but when sometimes the parents say, oh, I came out positive, I'm gonna leave the kids to the grandkids. The best thing to do is keep them there, because even though the child may not have any symptoms, they may have, they may be contaminated. But what happens is that the sheriff's office has been working with the fire department, the constable's been there, the city of Ensenada, police department, city of Cotula enforcement, and I hope I don't forget anybody, but so it's more of an educational deal, but once someone's positive, they'll take a form, say, this is what we can do. You're under quarantine, and they can follow up, because we've already spent quite a bit of money in testing. And every time it happens, everybody's concerned because everybody's been out. But if you keep them at home, then it becomes safer for everybody else. A lot safer.
Gilbert just let me know the data last night. The state currently has 1,856 cases pending investigation. So that's how far backlogged they are right now. No, just in our region. And that excludes the city of San Antonio, those that have their own public health departments.
Val Verde and some of the others.
Mm-hmm. I know they did make contact, that team, at the end of the week, and one of the residents made contact with an active person, but then identified there was probably 12 plus family members that lived in that same house. So the education had to be provided. Everybody has to stay because now everybody's quarantined. We've also had to do education. Active cases thought that they could still go out as long as they wear a mask. And that's not the case. When you're sick and you're positive, you need to stay home. So a lot of education still has to be done. And this is going to allow us that each case, we can provide that education instead of trying to play catch up after the state notifies us.
The county attorney has been very involved with setting this up, and it gives her different options. Likewise, it's never the intention to try to file charges on anybody, but people need to keep in mind that if you come out positive and you're on probation or parole, it may affect your status if you get one of these charges, because it's a criminal charge. The same thing if you're not a citizen of the United States. Federal government is very picky on the visas, that if you get a charge, which is A or B, you may not be allowed entry into the country. So this quarantine is very, very serious, but we need everybody's cooperation. That's the last resort that we want to do, but we do need people to work together and cooperate. If those people that are quarantined do not have the resources, we'll work with them through our food bank to get them the necessary items they need to weather it out. As the city of Cotula and the city of Ensenada are also working to make sure that their water and your utilities are not cut off. I'm not sure what we can do about electricity, but I know it's hard for families to stay home. We've even called some employers. There's one person where the employer was making him go back to work even though he was exposed. They called the employer, say, hey, this is what's happening. So we'll work with them, so that way they don't lose their jobs either. And we don't want people to lose their jobs. So I think we've taken the right step to move that way.
Absolutely.
So I put an order kind of extending what we have here, and the governor pretty much has taken a position. This is pretty much the only thing that we can do, that all bars be closed because the governor closed them. All amusement machines, including Maquinitas, be closed. I mean, we can open them, but the governor recently announced in Webb County, he told the officials there that he's planning to come back with another order to close them down because they're having problems with them.
So they got them open in Pearsall.
Yeah, in our case, we reached out to DPS, and I got the email from Captain Bentecourt saying that DPS had authorized us to close them down, because what happens with Maquinitas they're still offering beer, free beer, and they're coming back and forth from different communities. So we can choose to keep it open. And then continue it. This is what I'm recommending, but we can change anything that you want, commissioners. County Park is only open for walking, curfew children 17 years of age or younger, 10 to 7, home delivered meals for elderly to continue until September 6th. Food bank will continue. Mass gatherings over 100 will require permit. That doesn't change. Masks will be required by all citizens and people traveling into LaSalle County in public places. So we had a situation where, first of all, I'm not a citizen, so I don't need to wear a mask. So I think that would catch everybody. And then for the school, the governor said, first of all, you can't follow Chapter 418 to close schools down, even though the government code says you can. But you can set up a local health authority. You set up a local health authority. He says, well, local health authorities can't close it down unless something happens. So nothing's happened because the school hasn't been open. So we really can't do anything until, preventative to do so.
Correct.
So then the position last week was Paxton had said, well, the responsibility of the school should fall on the school board members and the faculty that run the schools. So in looking at this and speaking with Mrs. Martinez, in our order, the most we can do is put in our order, attendance for all children, teachers, faculty, and employees will be solely the responsibility of the school board members having jurisdiction in LaSalle County, which includes Cotulla ISD and Dilley ISD. We do have a portion of Dilley ISD that comes into LaSalle County. It is recommended that a safety plan for testing children, staff, parents, and guardians of the children in order to offer free COVID testing should there be an outbreak at any campus be in place.
Or school function.
Should there be an outbreak at any campus or school function? Furthermore, should an outbreak occur, then the local health authority may have recommendations and may implement safety plans to protect the children and the citizens of the county. That's the most. I don't know if you think we can do anything else, but
Judge, what I would ask is the safety plans, can we have it in there, recommend to submit to the emergency management office? That way we can also have a copy on file with the county clerk. So in the event an outbreak does occur, we have it on hand so we can start the process quickly instead of having to make contact and figure out what they have on file.
and then any business having an employee, staff member, or owner, representative that tests positive or has been quarantined by a health official will be required to close, just to close until business is disinfected. So it wouldn't be 24 hours. So if it takes 1 hour to disinfect it because it's small, fine. If it takes 2 hours, but just until it's disinfected. This one has curfew children and adults, so we remove that. So number 11 would be county will follow CDC return to work recommendations set for health workers for all employees who tested positive or have been in contact with COVID personnel. And that continues to change. So now it's only one test that's needed before it was 2 tests.
Correct.
So Mary, that's going to be hard. That's going to continue to change. So we'll just have to keep on top of it.
Yes, and it seems to be changing weekly.
So the curfew is still gonna be on or off on the 11th?
Well, I had it up here, the children, just for children, 17 and younger.
It's number 4.
And what happened is I typed up the order and I lost it. I typed it up and I lost it again. So this last time was at 11, I mean, at 12:50, I did this like in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I already read it like 3 times because I've done it. So that's why I made that mistake. I had it twice.
So we'll
Number 11 is
scratch,
nothing.
we'll go ahead and scratch out number
Yep.
11, Judge.
Scratch out number 11 and
Scratch
make
out-
number 12 number 11.
Number 12 stays.
Yes.
But what happens, I usually do this, and then 3 or 4 days later, come Margie, give it to her. So then people want her to read the minutes, and this way we'll have it right away. And then the county treasurer will follow the CARES Act in administrating and determining pay for employees meeting the criteria for qualification under the CARES Act. And 13, county courthouse will be open to the public Monday through Friday.
Is it Monday through Friday or just Mondays and Fridays? Judge?
Well, we're doing Monday through Friday,
All week?
all week. We're doing only Tuesdays and Thursdays.
For public.
Yeah. Because it kind of spurred up. It's kind of calmed down now, so open it back to the public,
So it's open every day.
yeah.
So it's gonna open normal
Yeah.
Normal hours. And I don't know what else you recommend, or if y'all recommend anything else.
Okay, like that one on number 4, curfew for the children from 17 ages. There's a bunch of kids playing basketball in the afternoons. And they're supposed to wear a mask, or is that okay?
Well, the thing is, if there's children out there even before, let's say 10 p.m., if they're playing, they're supposed to be spaced apart, like 6 feet apart. If they're playing basketball, then, they're in violation of
They need the mask.
what we need.
One of the problems with that was on the governor's order about sports, it's organized sports. So it's interpreted as part of a team like Little League or this. If they're just a couple of kids playing basketball, that's a hard one to say if it's organized or not, type deal. So that's a very hard one to address.
Okay, because, I noticed there's some kids behind these shirts playing basketball and that other one over there too. But I mean, it's just about, it's 10, 12 kids in these places, and then they go home to their parents, their grandparents or whatever.
And
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying.
the only thing would be the one there at the county parks. That one should be closed. That basketball court next to the pool, that should be closed.
That one's closed.
But I think the city still has theirs open, and over here, the church has theirs open. And, so you do see little groups of 3 or 4 kids playing together.
But like, you don't think you can recommend for them, if they're going to play basketball there, for them to wear a mask or something?
We can recommend it. Technically, per the order, it says in any public place, you have to have a mask on. So that's going to be the fail safe.
I think we need to develop a permit, and the permit should be pretty easy, that they're gonna have. And I don't know if you can do it for us, but the permit would name the date of the activity, what the function is. I mean, I can ask Ms. Martinez to draw it, because they didn't give us any.
No, but
They just said you had to have approval if you're gonna have more than 100 people. And I know, for example, they wanted to have some rodeos, some benefit rodeos, benefit events, and the issue is keeping everybody apart. So whoever has the activity has to keep them apart. And even public gatherings, it may apply to some funerals, because sometimes at the graveside services, you may have more than 100 people. I've been to some, and everybody seems to be, spaced.
would that
Pretty
be
good.
jurisdictional wise? So the city of Cotulla, if it's within the city limits, or is it just going to be with the county?
I mean, we could do countywide. Ours are countywide, it covers both inside our city. And the way it works is the city does an order, then the county's order overrides the city order, and then the governor overrides our order. So there's a pecking order all the way to the top. So we do that, then our order would carry uh, would carry. So, I mean, we can change it county park and all public places that have recreational equipment, basketball courts, merry-go-rounds will be closed, you know, playground equipment. And we can change it to that, and that closes the city and closes the little basketball court.
Except for the walking trail, correct?
Except for the walking. I mean, but it's up to you. I mean, I'd hate to close them down because you may have one or two kids that are playing, you know, horse or cat or something like that, and they're not staying away, and why punish them?
Correct, or.
You know, that's the thing it is. You may have some people that aren't playing full contact basketball.
Or two siblings out of the same household playing basketball. They live together. They should be able to play together.
So that's a hard one. You know?
On those, on number 7, on that permit, let's say there's gonna be anything, any function, is there gonna be somebody going to check on that they're social distancing, or it's just gonna be on their own?
But
If
that,
it's gonna be on their own, they're gonna get together. I mean, and that's just the way when you have a gathering, they get together. And it's just a safety deal for everybody, you know. Everybody wants to see the numbers go down, and you have a little any gathering.
I mean, I don't mind changing it and making a note with sincere regret. Gatherings of more than 100 people outside will not be authorized in the county of LaSalle. You know,
And we all want to see the numbers go down, Josh. We all want to go out. You know, it's the only way that's gonna happen. You know, I mean, I know it's tough for everybody. We all want to go back to a normal life. You know, I mean, I think a lot of people, you know, they're doing social distancing. You know, a lot of people wherever I go,
the
I guess everybody wearing their mask, but most of them are wearing their mask.
The only
Yeah.
thing that I think of that is because this is something the governor put. So you got to get a permit to have gatherings. Well, now UIL now has functions. So now when they do the football games and you have 100, do they require a permit, or we're not going to allow it? And they're going to get after, well, you can't do this. Well, you told us you can. So I can see it going that way too.
I agree.
They get a permit.
But we can address it whenever he brings it up.
They get a permit and they're allowed. I mean,
We can put it in place, and if the governor comes back and says, well, now you can't do that because,
I will tell you that I did get a phone call from the high school yesterday about the occupancy load. Mr. Butterfield's working on getting that to the high school in preparation for football games and how many people can go in the stands. So that's coming very quickly, that question.
well, then if they're gonna have that mass gatherings of over 100, then gotta leave it in place, but they have to have a permit and a seating or spacing plan in order to protect the public.
But I agree with Commissioner Alba. How do we enforce, who's going to enforce that they keep the spacing? Even at 75 people, who's going to enforce to make sure people are keeping the spacing?
and my main concern, you know, it all is, you know, I've never seen it, you know, in my lifetime, you know, like this, you know, people's safety, you know, or kids, you know, so many people dying, and sometimes you see, no, but you know, they got it, this got it. Well, you're really gonna think about it when it hits home. Then you're gonna think about it, you know. And where did you get it? Nobody knows exactly where to get it. You know, at the grocery store, touching something, or the shopping cart. You can get it anywhere, you know.
It's gonna be up to the people. I mean, they can clean. As at
Practice
Lowe's, I see
social
people cleaning the cart, and I mean, it's up to you. I guess.
So, I mean,
Stay clean.
what do you feel with, you know, with the mass gathering, I mean, if the governor comes back, well, you can't do that for, you know,
Leave it as is right now,
Yes.
because we're gonna run into that problem that we ran into with the adult curfew. Nobody knew about it, and 3 days later, we found out that it was canceled for the adults. So
and we canceled it for the adults. It's not that we couldn't do it. Webb County still has their curfew. You got some people that are out at 6 in the morning or, you know, 5 in the morning but if
Yeah.
we're going to work, then it's something else. But you got some people that do recreational things that walk. So, or you got people going to businesses in Laredo, if they're gonna go to the restaurant after hours, then that's exempt. So there's a lot of what if situations that said, you know what?
Yeah.
Just leave the adults alone. They should know better. They should understand that this is very, very serious. And the children usually need guidance, some of them. So we'll leave it for the children to leave it in place. And in reference to this, okay, they're gonna need a permit. And if this is applicable to school events, then for each outside football event, they should have a permit. And we'll get Ms. Martinez to do it, and also have a safety plan.
And like on those, Judge, you know, I mean, there's not a single person in this world that knows all the answers. But I guess in whatever gatherings of, you know, 4 or 5 people or whatever, you know, let's say they get a permit or whatever, you know, just letting everybody know, you know, I mean, practice social distancing, you know, wear the mask, you know, continue washing your hands and, you know, I guess just move on slowly and see if the numbers go down, you know. That's what the best we can do, you know. I mean, you can create a million rules. The more rules you do, it's harder for the people. People need to continue their lives and their jobs, and kids are tired of being home, and you know, there's been problems in, you know, families. You know, I guess it's, you know, I guess they just, you know, we all just need to work together and probably make it happen. And only the good Lord will see when He gets all of this out of the way. Move on.
So the biggest thing on this mass gathering, if it's over 100 outside, they need a permit and a safety plan. And we'll get Ms. Martinez to help us out on it to see if we can require enforcement of having a law enforcement officer there to make sure it's enforced.
And that's a good thing just for Mrs. Guerra. You know, she can make up a, you know, some kind of application deal, you know, make it easier.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, can-
that way she can have it and, you know,
We'll
go
do it.
by
Get a
that
lawyer.
and make it easier on you, you know. She can put in the writing in and everybody and go from there.
Put it on the door.
Huh? Yeah.
Put a sign on the door.
So the mass gathering, over 100, need a permit, safety plan, and then we can probably get that done by Monday or Tuesday. And like I said, we've required that our public places, and I think the city requires, like when they use the civic center, that they have an officer. So we may want to require that they have an officer there if they have a, you know, public gathering. You know, you're gonna do a rodeo, gotta have one officer. And those are the only recommendations that I was recommending, commissioners. So we can make those changes, and unless you have something else you wanted to recommend or look at.
No, sir.
come on, those over 100. When you say they gotta have an officer,
Oh, we can. I'd rather right now just leave the permit and a safety plan, and then we'll have Ms. Martinez do the permit, and we'll come back and vote on the final version. So for now, if something happens this weekend, I mean, Monday or Tuesday before Ms. Martinez, there might be about a week time. for now, just the permit and safety plan, something very simple. But we may amend it to include an officer or somebody, depending on what type of event.
Depends on the event, yeah. Dance or whatever.
Depending on what type of event.
Looks good,
So,
looks good for me.
huh?
Looks good for me.
So, so that would be,
Forming a motion.
in order amending and extending emergency, disaster declaration currently in place. We started on March 27, 2010, and it'd be for these items that we read. And we're removing number 11. I'll get you a new one. So we would need a motion in a second.
I'll make the motion, Judge.
I'll go ahead.
Commissioner
I'll go ahead second.
Ayala and
Alba.
Commissioner Alba, second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Make the motion to.
Oh, yes.
You didn't specify an ending date.
Oh, I'm sorry.
30 days.
If we can amend the order we adopted, we can only go 30 days, and I don't think I'd mentioned this. So it would only go through August 7th, 2020 at midnight.
September 7th.
I mean, September.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
September 6th. September 6th, because 31 days in August. So is there a motion to amend the order previously adopted to reflect that it will end at midnight, September 6th?
I'll make the motion to amend it, Judge.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed.
I'll make the motion to
Next
adjourn.
Wednesday, we're gonna have the meeting at the community center in Ensenada. Wednesday. Huh? Wednesday at 10 a.m.
I'll make the motion to adjourn. That's fine.
Motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Y'all got a letter?
Okay,
Y'all
yes.
got a letter?